Thanks very much, Bobby. I'm Mark Nolan, the CEO and founder of TechScreen. We're a SaaS product that has a world's only solution that lets a recruiter conduct, score, and document a detailed interview of an IT candidate without needing to know the underlying content. But we actually do it by more effectively engaging with the manager. Now, there's no shortage of tools in the IT, the HR tech space, whether it's applicant tracking systems and testing tools and video interviewing. And they're all trying to inject AI into making these tools more effective. But at the end of the day, it's a hiring manager making a decision about a person based on their own instincts. They're the ones who determine who actually are they going to interview and hire. And that's a really big deal. Indeed.com did a study that showed the US economy loses $160 billion a year because of the lost productivity of unfilled seats. And one of the things that we found, JobVite is a leading ATS vendor, and they wanted to track the metrics within the hiring process. And across 10 million job applications, they found the average interview to offer ratio was 17%. Now, we worked with a local software company, and for 2 months using recruiters who had 2 years of experience, they were able to work with their team leads to define custom interviews that they would conduct. So they screened over a 2-month period 155 software engineers, which led to hiring managers doing 40 formal interviews. They made 28 offers for a 70% interview to offer ratio. That same company, now when a candidate gets a 75 or better on a TechScreen interview, 3 of their teams skip manager phone screens entirely because they feel that they've proven that this product is working for them. Another case study even more recent with GoDaddy here in Cambridge. They had a position that had been open for 7 months. And working with them to get team leads, we defined a set of custom interviews. And their recruiters screened a total of 31 candidates the first month, rejected 14 of them outright. And these are candidates whose resumes looked like they were from Central Casting. It's a 45% knockout ratio, and helped them fill that position in 13 days. Now, the way we do it is we make it real easy for a recruiter to interface with the manager to create a custom interview. So they can go right in, in their office or a screen sharing session and pick questions right out of their library. So they can pick the skill, pick a level, and the manager can just sit there and cherry pick the questions they would ask if they had the time to do it themselves. And so they can switch between skill levels, between technologies. And as they're loading the questions, they can add the, so they can put up to 10 questions in a custom interview. And if the manager doesn't see a question that they like to ask, they can add their own. So they can put their own question in, they can put in what they regard as an acceptable answer. So now they can have the recruiter do a technical custom interview that they would do on their own if they had the time. And so once they create that custom question, that gets saved into their private library of custom questions that they can reuse on an unlimited basis. So when they're done picking the question for the interview, it's now sitting right there on the top of their page, so they can reuse it on an unlimited basis. And at the end of the interview, it generates a report. So now the manager, instead of just getting a resume and just reading it and hoping to figure out who they should talk to, they can see what they got. The raw score out of 100, our software helps them extract relevant details of how the candidate performed. So now the manager can actually see an interview that they helped create. Now, if you can offer this kind of customized service in helping hiring managers support their position, is there a reason you wouldn't do it? And so, from our perspective, it's time we got a lot smarter about hiring IT people, and we help you do it. Thanks very much. Wow. So let's see if anyone had any questions. Yes.
Do you offer any opportunity for in the questions for the employees that you're potentially screening to ask questions of the employer, meaning a reverse interview process? Oftentimes, even in a phone screening, it's important for the candidate to be able to ask some questions, even brief ones, of their future employer.
Well, that would happen as a normal part of the conversation because the recruiter's on the phone reading the questions on their screen. So if you as a candidate had a question about anything related to the job or the company, The recruiter is going to be able to answer those questions as a normal part of their job. But this is meant to be a surrogate for the hiring manager phone screen, so at the end of that conversation, they know, okay, who's worth further consideration in the process. Any others? Yes?
Hi, sorry if I'm speaking there, but I understand the job is targeting tech companies. Are you targeting enterprise level, small business? What are you looking for?
Across the gamut, any company who needs to employ recruiters on a full-time basis to hire technical people would be a candidate. We have customers who are in the enterprise software space, and their talent acquisition departments are customer, or staffing firms that focus on the IT space. And some of the firms are boutique with 4 or 5 desks, and we have one firm that does close to $40 million in revenue.
Okay,
across the-
I only ask that because does your tech integrate with other systems?
Right now, we don't have any integration into ATSs, but that's definitely in our roadmap. I mean, we're partners with a couple of them, but yes, the plan is to be integrated into most of the major ATSs.
Great, thank you.